Hello everybody, Kelly Rice here, but I write under my pen name, KM Rice. And today I'm actually not taking a question from a viewer or a reader or listener. Rather, it's a question that I've realized a lot of people have skirted around and I myself have skirted around and I feel the need to address. That question is what makes someone a writer? It's in the subtext of a lot of other questions that people ask, and sometimes, especially younger people, they'll ask it point blank. Here's the answer. You might want to get out a pen and paper. This is kind of a long one. You might want to take notes. So I'm pausing right here to give you a moment to get those things. Okay, now that you've all got your pen and paper, or pencil, or quill, or whatever, probably laptop. No, you can't write. No, could you write notes while you're watching this? I don't know. Anyway, that's beside the point. Here's my answer as to what makes someone a writer. They write. Right? Pretty complicated, isn't it? Hope you guys all wrote that down, making you a writer. The thing is, a lot of people have this conception that if they're not, if they don't have something published yet, they're not a writer. If they don't have a screenplay purchased yet, they're not a writer. If they don't have something tangible for others to pore over, they're not a writer. And the fact of the matter is, if you're actively writing, if you're actively telling a story or whatever form of writing it takes, you're a writer. That's all there is to it. You may not be pursuing it as a career. You may not even be pursuing what you're working on as a full-length novel. But a writer is someone who writes. And people measure their success in different ways. That's kind of a different issue, but I think especially in American culture and in Western culture in general, we tend to place value on success to the point that we forget that the craft itself is inherently valuable. Like I said, people who are like, well, I'm not making a lot of money at it, so maybe I'm not really a writer. That doesn't matter. What matters is the practicing of the craft. So we tend to think, oh, I haven't made it yet because I'm not, there's someone more successful than me, or I'm not as successful as I wish I were. That still doesn't come into play over whether or not you're a writer. I mean, look at other professions. You're a professor or a teacher, and maybe you're not teaching the subject that you would love to teach. Maybe you're teaching English 1A and you want to be teaching British literature. It doesn't matter, you're still a teacher. You're not at the point that you're working towards yet, but you're still a teacher. And the same thing goes for writers and storytellers and filmmakers and all of us creatives. And if you're someone either cursed or blessed with a personality like mine, you're never going to get to that end goal. Why? Because it keeps moving. Every time I've won an award, every time I've gotten any sort of accomplishment, I take a split second and be like, yay! And then, vroom, the goalpost gets shoved even further away. And that, obviously has something to do with what's going on psychologically with me. It works for me because then I have something to motivate me and to strive towards. I'm not going to rest on my laurels because I'm constantly trying to do something else. I'm constantly chomping at the bit to achieve something bigger than what I just achieved. But it also means that it's hard for me to slow down, just be mindful in the moment and take in the moment and be happy. And I rely on friends and family to remind me of that and be like, no, dude, you just had a book come out today, or you just had something really awesome happen. Let's celebrate this, let's take this moment in, because otherwise I'm like, sweet, that book's out, I gotta get started on the next one, give me the paper, give me this, give me that. And it's, it can get kind of manic, maybe. I don't know. I hope I'm not that dramatic in my personal life. You guys who know me in my personal life will have to... Well, don't say it publicly. You can just call me out in private. be kind of embarrassing if everyone's like, yeah, your obsession with replacing the toilet paper as soon as it's out is annoying. I don't do that though, because when I see that the toilet paper is getting low, I just put a new roll on the back of the toilet, so even if you like don't live in my house, you look at it and go, oh, okay, that's where the toilet paper is. Because don't you hate it when you're on I don't know how I got on a tangent about this, but don't you hate it when you're on the toilet in someone else's house and you're like, shit, there's no toilet paper. Oh, don't panic. I'm sure it's in the cupboard there or in that weird basket there with a bunch of books, and you have to go on a great toilet paper hunt. That's always awkward. So I try to, be considerate of my guests and not make them have to hunt for the toilet paper, because I actually don't keep it in the bathroom. I'm revealing a lot in this episode. But anyway, back to the point. A writer is someone who writes. And I think that that's very important to keep in mind, because it doesn't matter at what stage of the game you're at. If you are a kindergartner and you've written your first story, if you're in high school or middle school or even college and you are writing your first stories, you're becoming a writer. But what I think is the most important to keep in mind is that you need to keep doing it. I do find it weird when I meet people and they're like, oh, I'm a writer, or I somehow went to grad school with a bunch of people who were in the screenwriting program with me, and I'd be like, so what have you written? And they're like, 5 pages of a screenplay, but it's all up here. But I've written, and they would tell me that they'd written a screenplay, and I'm like, okay, there's some sort of alternate reality going on here, because until it's written on the page, to me it's not written yet. There's a big difference between what's in your head and what actually is going to come out. So I do have the caveat that you need to actively be writing. You could still be a writer, but don't tell people that you've accomplished things that you haven't actually done yet. I have like 100 stories in my head right now. Do I tell people I've written them? No, because I haven't. That's a lie. This is going back to my episode about all writers liars. Maybe we are. So maybe it is okay to lie and say you've written a ton of shit that you haven't. I don't know. But that's veering off subject a little bit. And I think that you just have to actively keep at it, keep honing in your craft, keep working on it. And a writer isn't someone who wrote one story in junior high, then never wrote anything again. Instead, a writer is someone who writes. That's present tense. You can take breaks from it. You can go a couple months, couple weeks, couple years without writing. But so long as it's an active drive in you, we all have different life circumstances. I'm not trying to shame anyone who doesn't have time every day or every week or every month to sit down and compose. God knows I don't do that on a regular basis. But I'm just saying, don't rest on your laurels, and don't, because I have met people who are more into the idea of being a writer than the actual process, because it's hard. And the nitty-gritty is work. A lot of it's work. But they like the idea of kind of being seen as, I don't even know, how do you perceive writers? Are we all these like tragic Keatsian figures who you might die young and have incredible creative genius and are not valued in our time, and yet after our deaths will be immortalized? I mean, I do not think of myself remotely in that way. At all. I'm someone who I hope the kindness of the way that I have lived will affect my friends and family and those whose lives I've touched. I sincerely hope that my words will help improve people's lives as well. But do I think I'll be remembered after I'm dead? No. Do I care? I won't care. I'll be dead. From what I hear, you don't care about much when you're dead. Anyway. A writer is someone who writes. And I do encounter people and I'm like, they're asking me very intelligent writerly questions, and I go, oh, so are you a writer? No, I'm a reader. Well, I mean, I have written a few little things. Okay, then you're a writer too. Just because you're not pursuing it as aggressively, or you don't have the same goals as me or whatnot, you're still a writer. So I hope that this helps clarify any questions that you guys have in your heads, if you care about my opinion and if you feel validated by hearing that from someone like me. Because I truly believe that everyone who is actively writing and actively creating story and trying to get it out in some written form is a writer. Alright, folks. That's all for today. Please remember, if you want to be notified when these videos come out, hit the subscribe button. I don't freaking know where it is. I think it's red somewhere on my page or like on my YouTube or something. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have a lot of subscribers because then I get more views and that creates ad revenue for me, like $10. But I'm not doing this for the subscribers. I'm doing this because not only is it fun for me and do I learn a lot, but I also get a lot out of being prompted by your guys' questions and having to think about those subjects and sharing what I know, because I've had a lot of help to get to where I am, and I'm happy to then extend that hand back to you guys. But today, I'm going to be signing off with a harp that was a gift to me from a friend from Letterkenny, Donegal, Ireland, who recently came to visit my family, and he brought this as a little present. In fact, I think I've shared some of his stuff on my page before. He's also a writer and a video maker. He makes, his name's John D. Ruddy, you can look him up. He makes really highly acclaimed history videos like the history of World War I in 5 minutes. So he does all the artwork, all the narration, all the research, obviously, everything that goes into it, and he has several of those coming out in book form. So he's a highly professorial individual. He will teach you a lot. And in fact, while he was visiting, we intended to film an episode of this vlog together so that I could kind of like interview him and take it to the next level on my show, if this is a show. Instead, we just like sat around and talked about the fact that time may or may not exist, because what is the fourth dimension, and how good corn dogs were or weren't compared to battered sausages over there, and, you know, like, what is gender? Yeah. I don't know, we had a lot of deep conversations instead of filming this vlog. We should just hit record. So check out his stuff if you want to hear from a mad Irishman. But from a mad partial Irish woman, I am saying goodbye, everyone. I wish you a fond farewell. Please keep the questions coming. Challenge me. Challenge me, guys. Give me the hard stuff. Give me the easy stuff and the funny stuff, too. Give me hard stuff as well. So from me, and a harp from Era. It's so pretty. Hope you guys all have an awesome day.